Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Coach James and you are in the right place. Once again, we are talking about Real Training Live. All right, Real Training Live, guys. It's 1 o'clock Eastern. It's Wednesday and it's time. So I hope that all of you guys are excited about this week's episode once again. I know I'm excited because there's always great things to talk about. And there's always great information to pass on to all of you who want to be a part of this and improving your business, all right? So, hey, just comment below if you would. If you're checking in for the first time, let me know what marketplace you're in. Let me know if you have any questions for me. And be sure that you are hitting the like button, the thumbs up, that you're hitting the share button, okay? So please feel free to share at any point and get this out to some of the other agents that you know. So, hey, Emily, great to have you on board. Tim Cruz, great to have you as well, man. I'm doing well. I hope you are also. So, great to see your name flashing across the screen again, man. If there's anything that you need, don't hesitate to let me know. All right, guys. So, hey, real quick, before we jump into the topic for today, I got to make sure that I can actually see on my little monitor here. I can see you guys when you have your questions and your comments. So, let me just scroll down real quickly, guys. So, I was thinking about the topic today, by the way, which, as you probably read from the little text there at the top of the video, that we're going to talk about people farming and the concept of people farming compared to geographic farming, because I know for a lot of agents, this is becoming a real challenge right now with the market. Trying to find more sellers, more business, man. So we're going to talk a lot about what that concept means, what is working for agents out there, and what you can be doing to start implementing more of this stuff in your business ASAP, all right? So two things that I like to kind of kick off every week when I step in front of the camera, and that is, number one, my purpose in showing up is to bring information. It's to bring knowledge. It's to bring all the tools, the scripts, the systems, the concepts that I know are working that you guys can start to implement, okay? But knowledge by itself, guys, is not power, right? We've talked about this many times, that knowledge isn't power. It's what do you do with the knowledge? It's what implementation and action do you take after being exposed to the knowledge? So to that end, the second thing that I try to bring every week is the nugget of motivation, the nugget of encouragement to get out there and take action. All right? Because again, man, there are so many videos. I was just talking with a great guy down in St. Petersburg, Florida earlier today. Mr. Alex Williams, I don't know if you're going to join us today, but hopefully you will. But he and I were talking a little bit about just the prolific amount of information that is out there that you can tap into 24/7. All right, what we're doing right now is just a part of that. There is so much knowledge, so much information just floating around out there in cyberspace. But guys, I don't know if you're like me, man. I mean, you find something that you're interested in, you watch it, you listen to it, you check in on it. And then a lot of times, man, it just gets sort of added to your to-do list. You're thinking, oh, that's a great idea. I got to do that, man. Let me write that on my to-do list for this week. Let me put that on my smart plan for the week. And then it just kind of sits there, right? And the reality is, until you put it in your schedule, until you take action, most of those things are just going to remain as good ideas. So whatever you pick up from today's time together, I want you to make the commitment right now that you are going to put it in your schedule to take action on something that you pick up today. So you know what? As we go forward and your little aha button goes off and you're like, aha, that's it. Comment below. Let me know what it is that you're taking away from our conversation today that you are going to commit to taking action on. Okay? So Tom, great to have you joining us there in Colorado, heading out to Montana. So hope you have a good, safe trip there, whatever you're doing in Montana. All right, so guys, Real Training Live, it is a couple minutes after. I've burned the necessary couple of minutes as we allow the group to kind of build. So let's dive into this concept, okay, about farming. Now, you guys and I know both very well that farming in general has been around forever, right? Farming has been a real estate topic, a real estate concept for decades. And the old school, I guess if you want to call it old school farming style, might be to pick a geographic area and maybe it's 100 homes, maybe it's 500 homes, maybe it's 1,000 homes. And you put together this little plan so that you're always dripping something on those people, right? And man, there are so many things, so many ideas that agents have used, agents have tried to develop brand recognition in a given community, with the idea being that as these people think about selling or buying their properties, they're going to call you because you're the local expert. You've got the name recognition, okay? And as a general concept, that's not a bad concept, but here's the problem. Here's the challenge with just good old-fashioned geographic farming. I want you to think about what percentage of those people that might be in a given geographic area, what percentage of them are already committed to and loyal to another agent besides you, okay? Because let's say it's 100 people. There might be 15 or 20 out of that group of 100 homes, 100 homeowners, that would never use you anyway, no matter how many pumpkin seeds you deliver, or pumpkins or seeds or pies or, hearty mums in the fall, whatever it is you're doing, this old school style of bringing stuff to people, recipe cards and market updates. Hey, you know what? You can do all that you want. But if they've got a great friend in the business, they've got a family member in the business, there's a good chance you're going to have a challenge getting their business. So that's one of the challenges with just generic, good old-fashioned geographic farming, is you don't really have a clue what chance you have of getting business from these people, all right? So one of the things that we're going to talk about today when I refer to a people farm, because I can think back to probably 10 or 15 years ago, and I remember saying to agents at that time, I said, look, rather than just blindly going out and talking to these people, calling these people, mailing to these people, spending money on these people, why not go through and identify the specific people within that group that actually find value in you doing that? And you're going to take maybe that same group of 100 and you're going to pluck out the 40 or 50 or however many people that you qualify to be a part of your people farm, and then you move on to the next geographic area. Okay, you don't just limit yourself to one subdivision, one section of town. Your idea is within the entire marketplace, you are selecting people based on certain criteria, which we're going to talk about. We're going to go through some very simple questions, very simple qualifying that you can do to see if they belong in your people farm. But here's a thought. Let's not forget this, guys, because this is such a key part to building this type of business. All right? Every single person, now I want you to think about this, all right? Every single person in your marketplace is going to know at least one person a year that buys or sells property, right? Would you guys agree with that? Okay, so even if they never actually sell or buy property, they're all going to know at least one person. So the potential here, the idea is you're building up a group of people that you have qualified, you've identified, and you are now staying in touch with, that represents an enormous potential for real estate transactions in your marketplace. But the key is you need to have the right people in the group, and you need to be doing the right things to draw that out of them, right, guys? I mean, it's not just blindly doing stuff, and I'm going to give you maybe 4 or 5 specific things that you could and should be doing with all the people that you add to this people farm. And we need to make sure you guys have a strategy for how you keep doing that. Because the reality is you could and should be adding probably a minimum of 5 people a week. Minimum, all right, to your people farm as you go along just doing your daily thing, okay? So let's back it up and let's start by, how do people qualify to get into your people farm? All right, how does a person go about doing that? What are the criteria for you to say this person belongs, this person doesn't belong? Okay, number 1 is they cannot already have an agent they're loyal to. Okay, very simple. We already talked about that a little bit, right? We kind of touched on the fact that if somebody else is going to get that person's business, if somebody else is going to get that person's referral, why would you stay in touch? Okay, there's only 2 ways we get paid in this business, guys. We either sell a property for someone or help them buy a property, or we get a referral from that person, right? So we need to make sure that we are investing our time, our resources, our money, our marketing, all of that into people that we believe we actually have a reasonable chance of getting paid on. Whether it's because they're going to do business with us or they're going to refer somebody to us that we can do business with. Okay? Does this make sense? Okay, if this is making sense, guys, again, feel free, hit the love, the like, the wow face, share it, comment below. Be sure you're asking questions, all right, guys, as we kind of go through the day. So that's step one, is you got to make sure you are getting people who are not already committed to somebody else. All right. Number two is they need to give you permission to stay in touch. Okay. You need to not assume that, you need to ask for it and get that permission. All right. So again, we're going to go through a script here in just a few minutes that is going to kind of lay all this out. You'll see how easy it is. I mean, this stuff we're talking about, guys, it's not complicated. But if you take action, if you actually do it, or maybe you make some adjustments to some of the things that you're already doing, you're going to find that, wow, man, I mean, this really can start to build an incredible potential for my business this year. Okay, so again, second qualifier is you need to tell them your intention and get their permission to keep in touch. All right, and then third and lastly, they need to be willing to at least commit to sending you referrals. All right, you've at least got to bring up the concept that, look, what you would hope for in return for what you're going to do for them is that when they hear of somebody who is going to sell or buy a property, that they reach out to you, they get in touch with you. Okay, that they're willing to let you know about it. All right, that's really the key. Okay, so 3 simple criteria. If a person can meet those 3 simple criteria, guess what, man? They're a candidate for your people farm. Okay, how simple is that? How hard is that? It's not difficult. Okay, so now how do we go about this? How do we determine if this person that we're kind of thinking about or talking to over here actually can make it? Simple questions, guys. In fact, I'm gonna simplify this so much where you can basically take this conversation that we're going to go through and you can translate it to just being out, going about your normal everyday business. We don't even have to talk about this in terms of prospecting, although you can do it in prospecting form. But let's say, for example, that you're at the dry cleaners, okay? And you're there picking up your clothing, you're picking up your stuff you dropped off, and you're in line, there's a few people in front of you, and you get talking to somebody about and it comes out that that you're in real estate. Okay, at that point, as soon as real estate gets injected into the conversation, guys, the first question that you need to be asking is, hey, do you currently have a real estate professional who keeps you up to date on what's going on out there in the marketplace? You know, gives you information about interest rates, is available to maybe handle questions about your property. Do you have anybody like that right now that you would consider your go-to person? Okay, so I'm giving you a few examples here of how you can ask this, but basically you're just bringing up the subject and you're saying, hey, do you guys currently have an agent right now? Somebody that you know for sure you would call if you had a question or if you needed to refer a friend. Is there an agent you would use? Okay, and if they say, no, we really don't, then guess what? They've passed criteria number 1 and you continue on with the conversation. All right. Now, if the person happens to say, you know, as a matter of fact, my wife's best friend from high school, you know, she's had her license for a few years and, you know, we've referred a couple people to her. I think that's probably who we would use. Okay. You know what? Right there, you know, there's no point keeping in touch with this person because you're never going to get their business. All right. It always makes me laugh when I talk to agents and they'll tell me, you know, I've got like 1,400 people in my database. And I'm like, my gosh, 1,400, are you kidding? Tell me about this group of people. Who are they? I mean, is this all your past customers? Oh, no. In fact, most of them are, you know, old open house leads that came through in 2002. And, you know, some of them are people that just responded to a Facebook ad 5 years ago. And, you know, it's like they got all these people in their database and they're thinking they've got this enormous group, right, that they're marketing to and they're staying in touch with. Meanwhile, 90% of them don't have a clue who they are. You know what I mean? Or a bunch of them probably would never do business with them anyway, guys. I don't want you to grow this gigantic group of people. What we want is a qualified group. Okay? I would much rather see every one of you create a list of 100 or 200 people that are super highly qualified to be there. They love what you do. They respect you in the community. They want to help you. They want to see you succeed, and they're getting value. And you work that group of 200 people, that is going to be so much more productive for you than having a group of 1,400 where most of them, you have no connection at all. They would probably never do business with you anyway because they don't know you. They've already got somebody else. And there's no foundation to build on there. Okay, so I hope this is making sense as we just kind of start to talk this through a little bit, right? that first step is you gotta know that you at least have a shot at getting paid. Okay? So ask them the question, do you guys currently have an agent that you know for sure you would use or you would call if you needed help, if you just wanted some information or an update on interest rates? Is there somebody you would call? And they say no. Great. So here's what I'd like to do. I would love to be that person. Okay? I've got a group of people right here in the community that I just check in with them a few times a year. And they really they see me as a resource. Okay? They contact me with questions. I make myself available to give them updates. Is that something you'd like to be a part of? Okay? Very simple, but you notice what we're doing, guys? We're asking closing questions. Okay? We're not just telling them. We're not just saying, hey, why don't I add you to my list? What's your email address? You're selling them. You're asking questions, telling them about the value of what you're going to offer and making them feel like, hey, this is an existing group. I was just talking with somebody yesterday, I think it was on a coaching call, about inclusivity or inclusiveness. It is a psychological principle, guys, where people they like to feel like they're a part of something that other people are doing and getting value out of. Okay? So when you use that phrase, hey, look, I've got a special group of people right here in the community that look to me as a resource. And, I make myself available to give them updates, answer questions, basically just be there for them when they need help. Is that something you'd like to be a part of as well? All right? Again, not complicated, but if you lay it out the right way, a lot of people that you say that to are going to say, yeah, sure, that sounds great. Okay? So now you get their contact information. What is the most important bit of contact information today, guys, that we need? Anybody have a thought? Okay? Most important bit of contact information you can get is the cell phone, because texting, as you guys know, man, that's like the number one form of communication. I don't necessarily like that per se. I mean, I think a lot of people wish it were something different, but it's the reality, man. Most of the people now, the most common form of communication is texting. So look, you need to get that cell phone. And you need to say to them or ask them to say, look, most of the people in this group actually seem to prefer to get their updates or maybe a link to some market information via text as opposed to email. So what would be the best number for me to forward that information to you on? Okay, just a simple way of asking for the cell phone, but it's, again, value-based. Okay, it's based on giving them something, and it's in their best interest, all right? So again, let me just repeat that. They've told you it's okay to keep in touch. They've said that that's fine, and they want to be a part of this, so you get their email, of course, but then you want to get the cell phone. So look, guys, the truth is, if you're like most of the people that I'm keeping in touch with, they seem to prefer to get their market updates. They get links to interesting articles and information about the real estate market via text. Okay, as opposed to email. That just seems to work better for them. So what would be the best number for me to forward that information to you on? And they may say, well, it's the number you're talking to me on right now. Or again, if this is happening at the dry cleaners, they'll give you their cell phone. Not all the time, all right? Let's not pretend that this is 100% every single time. But I guarantee you, man, you're going to get probably 75 to 80% or more who will give you their cell phone number. So now you can program it into your CRM, into your platform to auto text, or you can individually text. Okay? So then back to our script, right? The third and last thing that we want to lock down is getting the referrals. Okay? So, and I'm going to run through this all again. All right? So I'm going to put this all together so that so you can get a feel for how it flows. All right? But basically, you're just saying, look, guys, I appreciate that. And, quite frankly, all I would hope for in return is that when you do hear about somebody that's talking about selling their home, buying a home, that you just, send me a quick text, message me on Facebook, or give me a call and let me know who they are so I can introduce myself and see if I can be of help. Is that something you'd be comfortable with? Okay? Now, again, notice the closing question at the end. All right? If we go back to the very first question we asked about, do they currently have an agent that they know they would contact? That's a question. The second part of it was to say to them, look, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to be that resource. I'd like to keep in touch. In fact, I've got a group of people right now that I'm doing this with who think of me as a resource. Is that something you'd like to be a part of as well? That's a closing question, right? And then just what I said a second ago. Okay, all I would hope for in return is that when you do hear of somebody that's talking about selling a property, buying a property, you'd give me a quick call or message me and give me a chance to introduce myself. Is that something you'd be comfortable with? Question. Tie down closing question. Okay? 3 simple criteria that whenever real estate comes up, and guys, that's the beauty of this, is this can happen anywhere. This conversation that we just walked through can happen anywhere, anytime, and you can start adding people every single day to your people farm. People that are not already locked into somebody else, people that have given you permission to stay in touch, and people that have at least, tentatively agreed to refer you when they hear of somebody. Okay? Now, let's stop right there, guys. Again, if you have questions, please comment below. Please fire them off to me. Let me know what else you need to help take this and implement it. Okay? So as we're going forward, just keep firing the questions off as you have them, all right? But I want to kind of go back to something I just said a minute ago. Let's say, for example, that you are calling a for sale by owner, okay? So you get the for sale by owner on the phone, and you find out that, you know what, they're basically deciding they're no longer going to sell, okay? They were thinking maybe they were going to have a job transfer, so they decided to put the house up for sale, see if they could sell it on their own before the relo company agreed to buy them out. But you know what? Then the job transfer fell through, okay? And so their home is coming off the market. And you say, well, okay, that's I can appreciate that. Let me ask you a question. Obviously you didn't choose to list the property with anyone. Do you guys actually have an agent that you would call if you decided that you wanted to list the property for sale? Or, if you needed some information about the market, is there anyone you'd call? Now, they may say, yes, we actually had this one agent that was following up with us all the time, and they did a CMA, and we loved them, and that's who we would use if we were ever going to list it. Okay, fair enough. But you know what, guys? They may say, no, we don't. Frankly, most every agent that ever contacted us turned us off completely because they were such jerks. You probably never heard that before, right? But they may say, no, we don't have somebody. Bang, you're right into this conversation. From a first sale by owner call, you could add somebody to your people farm, okay? You could be at an open house. You could be out on the street buying groceries or picking up your dry cleaning. As soon as real estate comes up, this is my point, you want to launch this conversation, okay? And just ask them, hey, do you currently have an agent? If not, here's, a group that I keep in touch with, et cetera, et cetera. Would you like to be a part of it? And if they say yes, look, all I'd hope for in return is that when you hear of somebody, you contact me so I can introduce myself. Are you good with that? All right? So very simple script, guys. Would you agree? I hope so. Thumbs up, like, wow, whatever. Let's give me some reactions. And again, hit the share button, all right, to get this out to other agents that you know. But here's the thing. Let's focus on a goal for a minute, okay? Let's think about this. If you could add as few as 5 people, okay, 5 people a week to your people farm, okay? Just to think about this, all right? Now, in the course of, let's say you worked 48 weeks out of the year, okay? So that would be 240 people a year that you didn't know January 1st that are now in your people farm, all right? 240 people, all of which, like we said before, know somebody who's going to buy or sell property. They will encounter a friend, a family member, a coworker. I mean, guys, somebody that they know is going to buy or sell a home. It's common sense, right? So that means, 240 potentials that you could find out about. Now, are you going to get 240 referrals that year? No. But what if you could get 10 or 15% of them to actually send you a quick little text or a voicemail or an email and say, look, I got this person that I know in my golf league. They're selling their house. Give them a call. I got this person at work. Their wife's pregnant. They're having, twins. The house is too small. They need to move. Here's their contact info. Think about it, guys. Every time you put one person into your group, that's one more possibility of who they're going to know at some point that year that you could get referred to. Okay, so imagine if you set a goal to do that once a day, 5 days a week, 240 times a year. Think about the potential of growing this group. It's incredible, guys. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling when you really think about it. Okay? So, Emily, question, where are we getting the numbers to narrow down the geographic farm to the people farm? Great question. Okay? Now, like I said, you could do this concept anywhere. Like I said, if you're out doing your normal day-to-day personal business and you get talking to someone about the fact that you're in real estate, you can go right down this road. Okay? If you're contacting a FSBO, if you're doing an open house and somebody comes in, all right, there are so many scenarios that you could do this with. However, if you want to do what you're asking there, okay, which is you take this area, okay, a geographic area, and you say, you know what, I'm going to go through, there's like 250 homes in this area. I want to go through and I want to eliminate all the people that I would never want to do business with or could do business with. Okay? So if you can imagine that for a minute, right? You get the chance to talk to all 250 and you eliminate 50 people, let's just say, right? Because they either have an agent, they're miserable, you'd never want to do business with them or whatever. There's your 200 for your people farm right there. So to your question, Emily, where do you get the numbers? You know what? There's a lot of good resources for that. If you guys want to add comments below, for those of you that do this kind of thing, where you have found the highest percentage of good, valid numbers, please comment below and let's get the information being shared, all right? But one place that I would tell you to check, Emily, is Cole Realty Resources, okay? Now, are they the be-all, end-all? Do they have 100% of the numbers? No, okay, they don't, but they are a pretty good resource and have been for a couple of decades now, okay? So Cole Realty Resources is one place that you can get phone numbers. Another place is if you are using Mojo, they have the lead store, right? The geo list, basically, that you can subscribe to as a part of your data package with Mojo. Thirdly, RedX has their geo leads. Okay, that's again a built-in data source within the RedX system. Okay, so that's another one that I know a lot of agents seem to get pretty good success with. So one other option that I could suggest to you is check with your title company, because a lot of times the title companies have access to phone number information and they'll provide them to you. Okay, I know a lot of agents that get phone numbers from their title company. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a few places to check with. But again, if you guys who are watching this, whether you're watching it live or watching it as a rebroadcast, and you have a source for phone numbers that you know is really good, hey, please comment at it below and let us know, okay? So again, here's what we've done. We've talked about the concept of the people farm versus the geographic farm, right? That if you're just blindly mailing, you're blindly calling, sending information to, knocking on doors, dropping off information to everybody without qualifying them, you have got a lot of people that you're wasting time on, unfortunately, right? Because they're going to do business with somebody else, okay? So that's the first thing, is we need to buy into the concept that we have to have standards, okay? Matt Starsick, great to have you on board, man, from Chicagoland. Thanks for being a part today of what we're doing here. So, like I said, you've got to say here, my standards are, they can't already have somebody they're going to do business with. They have to be willing to let me stay in touch, okay? And I'm going to explain to them what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and ask them if they want to be a part of it. And if they say no thanks, fine, take them off the list, move on. But if they do want to be a part of it, I'm going to ask them to do me a favor in a sense, and in exchange for me being there, in exchange for me being a resource to them, I'd like for them to contact me. When, not if. Notice that, guys, in the language that I gave you? I said to them, when you hear of somebody that's planning to sell or buy a property, just get in touch with me and let me know. Okay? Simple. That's my standard right there. That's my script for adding people to the people farm. So now, let's say you're doing it. All right? You've plugged into the idea. You're embracing it. You're adding 5 people a week. You're on pace to add 200 to 250 people a year to your list. So then the question is, what do you do with them? Right? Hey, I got all these people, man. What am I going to do to make sure that they think of me? Well, reality is, guys, this is basically exactly like your SOI and your past client list. Okay? This is just a subcategory of people that you're keeping in touch with, just like a past client, just like your friends, your family members, and other people in your SOI, all right? So here is a sequence or a series of action steps, right, that I would suggest you use to really continue to brand yourself with this people farm. Okay? So first step, when somebody gets added to your people farm, you need to send them out an acknowledgement of that. Okay? Now, here's what you could do. You could record a video just like this. Okay? You could just set up your phone on a tripod so it's not jittery and, like, oh, hey, it's on a tripod, it's professional. You might have your logo in the background or whatever. And you just shoot a standard video that says, hey, you know what? I just wanted to welcome you to my preferred client program. I really appreciate you spending a few minutes with me on the phone today, or appreciate you talking with me today at the dry cleaners, or whatever. And, I just want to, again, remind you that as a part of this group, you have access to me whenever you need a question answered about real estate, a value on your home. If you need referrals to contractors to do some work, I'm more than happy to provide that. And I will be checking in with you a few times a year just to see what I can do for you. So you know what? I look forward to being of service. And again, anything that you need, feel free to reach out. Okay? So you shoot this little video, 30, 45 seconds long. You could make it specific, like I was kind of referring to that person and how we interacted, or you can make it very generic. Hey, just wanted to welcome you to the group. Here's what you can expect. Here's what I hope for in return. Have a great day. Bang, you send it off to them as a text. Okay? That's one option that welcomes them. It anchors this, that it's like you're a part of something. It's like getting your membership card, when you were a kid and you joined the Rock Club of the United States, and you were so excited because you loved rocks and you collected rocks, and you filled out your little form and you mailed it off to the Rock Club headquarters, and you got your little welcome kit back in a few weeks, and it had your little ID card with your name on it, and certified member of the Rock Club of the United States, and you had your hat with the little logo. And remember that? I mean, maybe I'm the only one that joined those weird clubs. I don't know, but you guys get my point, right? It's like, when you've welcomed somebody in, let them know. Send them a letter if that's what you want to do. A handwritten note. I don't care. But step one is solidify them in the group. Okay? Step two is you want to make sure that you, again, are putting them on an email drip. Okay? So probably once a month, maybe twice a month, they're going to get some kind of an email from you. That can be an informational email that gives them a link to market updates. It gives them a link to property information. Gives them a link to some kind of article that's maybe relevant to whatever's going on in the community. All right? So emails, texting. Remember we said get their cell phone number so you can text them. So a couple times a year, you can set up a program to do the auto text blast. Okay? Because they're going to read it. 95% or more of texts get read, whereas only about 25% of emails get read. All right? So texting, phoning, obviously you can call through your people farm and just check in with them, let them know that you're there, give them updates, answer questions. And of course, postcards, mailing, hard copy stuff. All right? So my point is, guys, you treat them the same way you would your SOI and your past clients, maybe with just a little bit less specific stuff. But this group, let's not forget, this group, this people farm, has the potential to deliver a 10 to 15% return, just like your regular database. Okay? And the goal is to develop such a sense of value and contribution to this group that they kind of bump up, they kind of elevate up through to a full-blown SOI. They're sending you referrals. Now you're maybe taking them out to lunch, you're thanking them, you're elevating them to the next level. So, guys, this is an ongoing thing. Okay? You're investing in people and in their knowledge of all the other people they interact with. And you need to brand yourself as a resource. All right? As a person of value in their life that they will think of when they think of real estate. Okay? So again, wrap up here, okay? We're not just blindly geographically marketing to this subdivision, this group of 500 homes. We're qualifying that group of people by talking to them either at the door or on the phone. And we're saying, okay, out of that 500 people or whatever, I'm getting rid of the 50 or 100 people that would never do business with me because they got a friend in the business. They got a family member in the business. They're never going to give me their business, so I'm not going to mail stuff to them. I'm not going to spend money on them. I'm not going to call them. I'm not going to send them Christmas cards or calendars, right? So now you've got it whittled down to your people farm, and you ask the additional questions. Okay, would it be okay? What I'd like to do is stay in touch. I'm going to give you updates. Is that something you want to be a part of? They say yes. Great. I'd hope for referrals in return. And then you got them. And then you put them on the drips and you just continue to faithfully work the group to try to draw out their referrals. Okay? So guys, again, questions below. Anything that you have some additional questions about, I need you to put it below. If you want to hit the share button for me, I would love to see this getting shared out to other agents you know. And as always, if there is more that you need from me, you know how to get in touch with me, all right? So that, guys, again, what do we spend? 35 minutes there, basically, talking about this concept that you can add to your business anytime. So just like I said to you at the beginning, what are you going to do with this? Okay? You may decide, you know what? I mean, I don't really like this concept. So, hey, it was interesting, but I'm not going to do anything with it. And you know what? That's fine. Or you may say, wow, man, this I can really see how this can help contribute to my goals this year. I want to start it immediately. So then you need to get the little script down and you need to be looking for opportunities to get real estate brought into a conversation so that you can ask your questions and start adding people. All right? So guys, very simple, very straightforward. I really hope you took away something that you're going to act on from today's conversation. All right? So anybody, real quick before we wrap up, want to post a question below? Comments, likes, loves, wow faces, any other responses, always appreciated, of course. And if not, then you know what you got to do. Okay, you got to get out there. You got to put this into action. Next Wednesday, we will be right back here again, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 12 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock for those of you in the Mountain Time Zone, and of course, 10 a.m. Pacific. So until then, thanks for being a part of Real Training Live. Share this with somebody. Get the word out there. Have a great week in your business. I look forward to talking to you again real soon, guys. All right? Have a great day. Bye-bye.